You know what? I'm gonna go on an adventure. Yeah, nah. I ain't having that adventure. Hello everybody, this is Totem Pole Joe. Today I really did want to go to an adventure, but I don't want to go outside. So I will use the next best way to have a grand adventure, through video games. And what other games have grand adventures than Final Fantasy? Probably a lot of it. But I will be playing through Final Fantasy 2 because I have already played through Final Fantasy 1, which you can click over here. Ha. But right now, it is time to get into Final Fantasy 2.
With the popularity and financial success of Final Fantasy, Square Soft, at the time, of course had to create a sequel. And that created the question of how to innovate.
Actually, let me start with a question.
Have you noticed when you thought of a series there was that one sequel that never occurred in your mind? Where you thought of all but one number in between?
Yeah, this is most accurate to those who don't play certain games. Let me give you an example. With Tekken.
You had Tekken 2 when you were young. You then thought of Tekken 1. You played Tekken Tag Tournament, the first game, and you found out there was a third game that was released just before it. You started playing other games, or school, or whatever, then suddenly there's a Tekken 5, then a 6, then a 7.
See the missing number here? I like to call it the invisible sequel. Have you ever had thoughts like this? For me, it was Street Fighter 1, Resident Evil 3, apparently it's called Nemesis, and surprisingly enough, Final Fantasy 2. Yeah, so I'm jumping into this game blind.
Oh, anyway, enough of the story building. Let's start the game. So it seems that the first step towards this innovation is giving the characters their own identity. But you can still change it if you wish. So, of course, I'm gonna name myself Totem Pole Joe, followed by my friend Alexia, and Jamal the Wall, and Androdox. So, let's start this adventure. A long-lived peace. Is at an end. The Emperor of Palamecia has called forth monsters from the underworld, and has begun his campaign for world conquest. A rebel army arose in the Kingdom of Fynn to thwart the Emperor's plans. But the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altair. Four youths from Fynn has also found themselves fleeing the Empire forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire, but their escape wasn't over. Holy crap! What a way to start this adventure! Oh, yeah, we're also surrounded by the Imperial soldiers? I got a bad feeling about this. Well, whatever. Let's see if we can take him. Let's go! Oh. Well, this was one of the shortest, disappointing adventures ever. Wait, what? Well, it turns out we are saved and revived by Princess Hilda and the White Wizard, Minwu. Then she starts to spout about some plot mumbo-jumbo about the Empire building a dreadnought in a place called Bafsk. And, of course, I wake up, then I reunite with Alexia and Jamal the Wall. But someone is missing. Where's Androdox?
Wait, then why can't I name the character?
I mean, seriously, he has a name, he has a picture, he has an identity. Why can't I change his name? Why does he vanish in the beginning of the game? Whatever. Let's get back into the game. I then talk to Minwu, who says he sees our destiny, apparently, and says that our future intertwines with his. He then tells us to head for Fynn. That is where we must go. Okay. Well, out of curiosity, I then decided to talk to this guy, who mentions a Palom to the east, and a lake that we need a canoe to cross. So where can we get a canoe? Who's this? Oh, it's the King of Fynn, and he took an arrow to the back. Well, there's no canoe here, so continuing on. Step outside and you can talk to this colorful character. His name is Paul, and he is the greatest thief, and there is nothing he can't steal or burgle. Burgle. What? And this depressing guy is Gordon. Apparently, he is the Prince of Kashuan, and I just realized this when editing the video, but he was there at the beginning. What a bitch. He realizes we are helping the princess and wishes to help too, but is scared he will be rejected and friend-zoned. But for now, it's time to buy some supplies. So after getting supplies, I head north, towards Fynn, since that's where that guy told us to go. Oh. Well, I guess we're doing this now. Actually, since we are battling, let's talk about another choice towards innovation made for Final Fantasy II. So there is no more leveling up your character mechanic, but rather a weapon skill level mechanic, which applies to magic as well. And depending on how many times you use these weapons and magic, the more effective you are with these skills, dealing more damage and the such. And the character's stats will improve depending on how the battle goes. Actually, in addition to the new level up system, you can now equip double weapons, and your characters can equip either black or white magic, regardless of class, allowing a more customization to your adventurer. Now continuing with the game, I win! I continued north and came to this small town called Gratia. It's actually nothing special, just a small town. Continuing on, I head further north and I reach the town of Fynn. We then realize that the entire town is taken over by Imperial soldiers, and that we must be careful not to encounter them. Okay, we have infiltrated Fynn, and we just have to stay clear of any— Oh god, what? Are you serious? Anyways, after that fight, I realized that there are no citizens in town. All I can assume is that these Imperial soldiers have slaughtered everyone. It's tragic, but also, where do I go? I decided to ask for directions, which ultimately backfired. Emphasis on ultimately. Anyways, jumping back into the game, I decided to look around the town. I then found a pub that's just outside the walls of Fynn. Of course, I enter the pub and it's crawling with Imperial soldiers. I then talk to the only non-Imperial soldier, who is the bartender. I give him the password and he opens the wall behind him. And the first thing I noticed when walking in was treasure! Then there is this soldier who really doesn't want to be captured by the Imperial soldiers. He then realizes we're helping the princess, and he introduces himself as Scott, the Prince of Kashuan. Alexia then decides to ask about her brother Antrodox, like I mentioned earlier, but even Scott doesn't know anything. He then decides to step out of his bed and give us his ring, and decides that he needs to get a little bit more rest. Wait, what? Oh my, did he just— oh my gosh, he just died. Oh, we also obtained his ring. Wow, he is dead! Well, what a way to start this game. Anyway, we head back to the rebels base, and the princess finds out that we have a ring and asks if Scott is still alive. We tell her that upon giving us the ring, he has passed. She then asks us if he had any last words for her. We tell her no. Well, technically he did. He said he loved her, but he said never mind. The princess then says she is amazed that we entered Fynn and left easily, and that we should lend our strength to the cause. What? I thought I already lended my strength to the cause. Whatever. She says we need to find a thing called mithril, a magical metal. Okay, just gotta write it down, learn the word, put it down in my notebook. It's not like you're pausing the game or anything. So she then tells us to head for Salamand with Minwu. We talk to him, and of course, he hears the conversation as he is right next to her, but then he tells us to head east to our destination. Thus, Minwu joins the party. No, and he even gave us the canoe. Sweet. Okay, since Minwu joined us, let me start by explaining this. So the reason your fourth member is missing is the next step made towards innovation, because you will be getting a new fourth member to your team as you progress through the game. Anyways, with the canoe, we are now able to head east beyond this great lake, and... That was an airship. Why? Anyways, we enter Palum and ask this here pirate who is willing to sail us to Poft to give us a ride, and it's only 32 gil! Sweet! I head further north to find and enter the snowy village of Salamand. If it was a town near a volcano, would it be called Salamander? Yeah, well, anyways. Head somewhere left and find this here cave called Semet Falls. Oh great, it's one of these dungeons. Hey, 200 gil! Anyways, after getting lost a bit, I find a group of hostages, and oddly enough, here's Paul, the greatest burgle. Turns out he wanted to steal the mithril from us, but he has failed since he was caught. He then took the hostages and booked it. Anyways, continuing on, we then find this here, warrior defending the mithril. Well, that seems kinda dumb. He should have just said it wasn't the mithril, but whatever. Fight the sergeants, defeat the sergeants, we win. Anyways, we then check out this here treasure that was being defended, and it is containing mithril. Okay, so I head back to Salamand to recover, and it turns out I saved the village's men, the husbands, from the hostage situation with the help of Paul. Even the girl Nellie is here. She thanks us, but honestly, it feels like it was Paul's glory. And here's her father, Joseph. Apparently, this guy named Borgin was blackmailing him, and now Joseph is on our side. Head back to Altair, the rebels' home base, and report back to the princess, and she talks about this dreadnought thing. We then head for the armory, talk to this old-timer, give him the mithril, and he gets to work in making new equipment. Our next destination is to head over to Poft and ask a certain man for a ride. The first of many to be associated with the iconic airship, Sid. We talk to his literally right-hand man and buy a one-way trip to Bafsk. Step out and take your seat in the airship. That didn't seem too far. So we are finally in Bafsk, and it turns out there is a rebel spy in the Imperial rankings. So all I gotta do is talk to the rebel in disguise. Jeez, that's how you know nobody likes you at all. Find the rebel and he will open the passageway to the dreadnought. After getting through all that, you will meet the Dark Knight, whose character avatar does not look familiar at all. Then this guy who happens to be Borghen says something. Then we witness the dreadnought. Enter the cave again and head right and you'll find the chest containing a pass. Head right in that same room and teleport out of the town. Anyways, since we're done with that, we must head back to the base and oh my god! Everything is destroyed! Talk to the princess and you find out that Dreadnought attacked everything, and that her father knows his time has come. Then Alexia asks Minwu if he can do anything for the king. Minwu says that he will inevitably die, but he does decide to help heal the king's suffering. Minwu then leaves us the task to deal with the Dreadnought. And so he leaves the party. And within the second he leaves, the king is immediately feeling even better. But not knowing what to do next, I ask the king what should I do about the airship. He then says to talk to Cid, because if anybody knows how to destroy the Dreadnought, it would be him. So I head back to Poft and, oh god, this place is devastated too! And this lady says that everyone is dead. Anyways, ask what to do about the Dreadnought to Cid, and he says to blow the engines. Ask Cid about airships. He will then mention something about a Sunfire. Ask him about this Sunfire, and he will say that it's hard to control and can blow the engine of an airship. Bring this information to the princess, and she will mention this fire taking place in Kashuan Keep. We tell her that Cid says to use the Sunfire to blow the Dreadnought. She then tells us to head for Kashuan Keep immediately, but then she says we can't bring the Sunfire back with any normal torch. Okay, so... I ask the king about the Sunfire, and he mentions the goddess's bell. Ask about the bell, and he'll mention the Kashuan family. So, ask the princess about the bell, and she says that Scott and Gordon talked about the same bell. She then says that Kashuan Keep can only be opened with the voice of a Kashuan or the goddess's bell. What?
So you told me that I have to go to the keep immediately, and you're just now telling me that I can't even enter the keep without having to use the voice or the bell?
Whatever. She tells us to head for the snow plains, and that Joseph can help me get to the goddess's bell. So we come back to Salaman to talk to Joseph about getting to the snow caverns. He says that we'll need his snowcraft, and because it's his snowcraft, he joins the team. Say bye to Daddy, Nally. So he told me that the snowcraft is back in Summit Falls. We just gotta find this blue gem, push the rock at the far right corner, and get the snowcraft. Head north and you'll find the snowy plains, and head further right and you'll find the snow cavern. Going through the cavern, we find the Adamantoise guarding the bell. So after being the Adamantoise, we get the bell on the wall. Sweet! A shortcut! As we get close to the entrance, we run into Borken, and we start a fight. So after we beat this loser, we must leave the cavern and... Whoa, what? Trapped the cavern? Oh snap, Indiana Jones! What? What? Joseph is dead.
This video's taking too long, so I'm gonna put it in the next one.
Bye!